I don't know about you guys, but for me, this is absolute ambrosia. Let's watch the video together and then we can make some commentary around it.
Now, Australian Aboriginals are the oldest Indigenous culture in the world. Do you know why there's so few of them? We killed them.
Yes.
We committed a genocide.
Why were we able to do that? Why were we able to do that?
What are you implying?
I'm just asking you the question.
Are you implying because we're better?
Right. The reason this is happening is because the Marxist is not actually trying to understand the world. They're not interested in any type of explanation. What they're interested is in moral condemnation. Like, this is the religious aspect, right? By using the word we, they're implying that we have an original sin. Before we were born, hundreds of years ago, something happened. And so because we look similar like the people there, we're from the same continent, we now have guilt. And the only way to purge us from guilt is to empower the Marxists, right? Like, it's not to elevate the Aboriginals. It's not to, get the Aboriginals to have more babies, to donate wealth, to make sure that we increase their numbers to the same way that they were before, and we get all the white people to live those lands. No, it's not about that, right? What it is about is getting leftist activists paid, partaking into the grift. And so the way they do this is by making you feel guilt. And they're pretending that it's about history. They're pretending that they're actually trying to understand something. But even if this event didn't happen, even if, let's say, we lived in an alternative universe where Europeans never invaded Aboriginals, they would just find another thing. They would look for a different justification. Like, their ideology wouldn't stop existing. They would try to guilt you with whatever else they can find. And so when you're actually pretending that you're engaging with the conversation, so you're not interested in morality, but you're like interested in the historical aspect, you trip them off their game. Because they're not expecting that you're actually talking about history. They don't know history. They don't know the battles that were there. They don't know the weapons that were used. They don't know the names of the journal. They don't care, right? Like, they only need a superficial understanding of history in order to Trojan horse their morality. And so when you actually do talk about history and you do engage them, this is what happens.
The world. Do you know why there's so few of them? We killed them.
Yes.
We committed a genocide.
Why were we able to do that? Why were we able to do that?
What are you implying?
I'm just asking you the question.
Are you implying because we're better?
No.
What are you implying?
We were technologically far more advanced. That's what I'm implying. What's not clear about that?
So you're saying...
I'm saying we were technologically more advanced.
So you're saying is when they have to shift 7 mana and just use the get out of jail card, it's like they're backing to, so you're saying it's like, oh shit, how can I manipulate this conversation in order to make you look immoral? But here's the problem, right? They believe that every single human being is identical to each other. And we know this not to be true. Like, first of all, you have a family that has 2 identical twins. They never end up in the same situation, whether it's economically, physically. Like, they're going to end up different, right? You yourself are not the same person today like you used to be 10 years ago. And so the idea that every single person is the same, absolutely ridiculous. And when you understand that every single person isn't the same, you also understand that civilizations are not similar to one another. Yeah, like, there are certain civilizations better than others. It's objectively true. Romania, for instance, is not as good as China on almost any metric. Militarily, economically, right? Like, there is a reason why China is better than us. And so when you ask the question why, this is what happens. The Marxists sink in. They don't have a rebuttal to that. Now, what's interesting, when you have to force them to admit reality, is that the reason they can't is that they're not interested in understanding. They're not interested in finding out, well, okay, how did the Europeans manage to defeat the Aboriginals? They're not interested in that, because then they would have to accept that the Europeans were better than the Aboriginals. But in this situation, better doesn't mean better morally necessarily. Although some could make the argument that, well, in certain cases, European law and European morality was probably superior than many other people that lived at the time. But that's not the argument. The argument is that logistically, technologically, militarily, we were better. Now, this isn't necessarily because of genetics. Like, they can play a part, but it's not because necessarily of, you're born European, so therefore, if you're placed on an island with an Aboriginal, you're going to be better than the Aboriginal at anything else just because you're European, right? It's not like that. The reason is due to, for instance, Europeans developing immunity to certain diseases. So just by coming into contact with an Aboriginal, you're transmitting disease. Is because we have a history of warfare that's more than 1,000 years. And so you're forced to develop better logistics. You're forced to develop better writing. You're forced to adapt in that situation, right? Like when you have populations that number in the millions, eventually out of 1 million people, you're going to have one person that's smarter than everyone else and they're going to invent some shit. And when you're constantly at war with your neighbors, a lot of things have to be invented in order to have an advantage, right? So when you're going to war with a society that didn't have that history, didn't experience those things, yeah, they're going to be crushed. But the Marxists can't admit that. They see the world through the lens of oppressor. But if you ask them, well, why did the oppressor manage to win? They don't know. And the reason they don't know is because they never actually debate. Like, very rarely do you see one of these individuals that are left-leaning actually engaging in a debate where they don't have the power, like they don't have the moderator or they don't have the numbers or anything like that. And when they do have to debate, when they are actually focused, that they don't even think about the questions because they never heard them before. They never even had to articulate them.
Most people would hear what I'm saying for what I'm saying, which is
Don't think they would. Why? What?
Look at this.
What's not clear about that?
So you're saying?
I'm saying we were technologically more advanced. Would you?
So you're saying
with
we're
that?
superior to Australian Aboriginals?
That's quite the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm not saying we were superior. I'm saying we were technologically more advanced.
So how is that the opposite?
Superior implies a moral quality. I'm not making any moral implication. You seem to be, but
Okay.
what I'm saying is
I think most people would hear it that way.
No, I don't think like most people would hear it that way. Because like, here's the thing. Let's assume an alternative universe where you have people that genuinely believe they're superior, right? Like the Nazis. The Nazis genuinely believed they were superior than the Russians. But the belief alone of being superior didn't help them win the war. Like simply saying, okay, well, these people believe they're superior than the other, that doesn't mean anything. What matters is technological innovation, numbers, the terrain, the geography, right? Like the winter in Russia, the logistics, the ability to feed people. All of these things matter. Superiority has nothing to do with it. Whether people believe they're superior or not doesn't fucking matter.
No,
Again, you're a very intelligent man. How would most people hear that?
most people would hear what I'm saying for what I'm saying, which is
Don't think they would. Why? What's the point of this question?
the
then?
point of
And also, notice how it doesn't really matter if it's right or not. It's how would people feel? Like, this is the ethos of leftist thought. They're not interested in understanding reality. They're not interested in finding the truth. They're interested in figuring out how would other people feel. Like what would people say if they heard you speak like this? And, what if what he is saying is true and most people would think that he's a piece of shit despite the fact that he is saying the truth? Well, according to a leftist, then you'd have to lie or not mention it. And the question is, like, do you want a society like that where people are lying just because everyone has to pretend that the truth doesn't exist so that they don't offend other people's fifis? I mean, this is pretty much how you get Chernobyl, right? The reactor explodes because everyone has a culture of secrecy and lying.
of this question is
It's because we came in with our better gendered binaries,
No, sorry.
and therefore
What?
we were
Deborah,
able to
this
kill
is going to
them.
work a lot better if you just hear the point I'm making instead of getting.
I
really
love this.
cannot-
Holy fucking shit. I haven't listened to the interview so far, but like what she got from this is because we came out with a better gender binary, and so we were able to kill them. No, it's because we came with better technology, ships that could sail the ocean, weapons that cracked thunder from the fucking stick, logistics that were capable at supporting a foreign invasion halfway across the ocean. As for the gender binary, I don't fucking know. Maybe it did help. You need to have like a special type of human being to put him on a boat and sail half the way across the world in order to conduct combat operation on a foreign soil in a land that he doesn't even recognize. Yeah, like if I was there, I would probably shit my pants. I wouldn't be able to stay in a formation. And so like maybe the way young kids were raised in Europe at the time was so different and alien than how we raise people right now that they actually did create stoic humans capable of conducting combat operation with medieval technology halfway across the world. And so, yeah, maybe she's onto something. Yeah, maybe because we did believe in gender binary, we were able to win the engagement.
I don't understand what it could possibly be other than we are better.
Well, let me explain it to you what it could possibly be. And
what's it got to do with the gender binary?
Your argument, we're just talking about the argument, and you seem to get quite heated about this, which is completely unnecessary. You think it's necessary?
I'm a bit stunned by what you're...
It's interesting that I don't think she was ever in a conversation with a right-winger before. Like, this is the first time. And this is how they maintain orthodoxy and keep their bubble. Like, I have debated leftists a lot of time, and so the first few couple of debates, yeah, sure, you get a little bit agitated, you get passionate, but after that, you're able to maintain your cool. And it also matters like how you come into the debate. Like if you're just coming in to morally condemn the other person and to act like an inquisitor, yeah, you're going to get rattled when you're not getting your moral condemnation. But if you're actually going there to learn and you're interested, okay, you want to talk about history and how we managed to defeat groups of people and subjugate the world, then, you know, it's going to lead up with an interesting talk about logistics, about animal husbandry in Europe. Yeah, by the way, that's another reason why we managed to win. It's because the Aboriginals didn't have horses. Like, it's very difficult to build a society without horses. Horses aren't just for traveling or for combat, but they're also incredibly important for agriculture, for sending rapid messages across the land. You know, societies and civilizations that had horses had a huge advantage towards the ones that did not.
You're implying.
No, you're acting in a kind of passive-aggressive way, which indicates that you're not happy.
I genuinely am being 100% authentic. My visceral reaction to a white man sitting and saying to me, and why were we able to commit genocide on them? And then just pausing.
Yes.
But it's interesting how she's not responding, right? Because she can't respond without upsetting her audience. And so she has to go back. It's like, oh, you're white man, so therefore you can't speak about these things. Like, these topics are forbidden. You're only allowed to listen. You are born incorrectly, right? Look at the hypocrisy. Like she comes in, and she basically says that, you know, the Aboriginals being oppressed, like, they're obviously more valuable than you, which is a white man who are the oppressor, even though you didn't oppress them. But before you were born, things happen by people that you may not even be related in blood, right? Like, you may not even be their descendants. Like, maybe your family immigrated way after the war was over. She already has a hierarchy. It's just that it's on reverse. Like, she already believes that some people are better than others, some genders are better than others. Like, she's already buying that. It's just that she's from a different tribe.
Is very visceral to me.
Well, let's go back. First of all, it's interesting that you brought up my skin color, because I thought that was the exact opposite of the point you're trying to make in the book. But anyway, let's come back to the argument.
You haven't read my book, so you wouldn't know what the point is.
You said that the point of your book is it's all about you can't say this as a this person and whatever. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
You're very reductive. I thought you were a lot more intellectual than this.
She's literally drinking the white man's tears right now. But yeah, no, now he's falling into her rhetoric games. Right? Because she just wants to move the conversation away. So she's going to start with the petty shit. You gotta understand, like, people that are into Marxism, they're not dumb. It's that all of their skills are done to manipulate the public, to distract, to move away from the conversation. That's where they're at. Like she noticed that this is a weak point. She cannot continue this conversation. It's not that she doesn't know the answer. It's that if she was to say the answer, she would get into trouble with her group. And so what she's doing right now, she's obfuscating. She just wants to end the interview. She just wants, like she realized that, okay, the person she's debating is actually well-versed into knowledge and understands history. And so I can't continue this without losing my side. So now she's doing everything she can in order to end the interview and make it awkward. And she's basically trying to make it seem as if he is bullying her. But the reality is, like, I'm pretty sure she knows exactly why the Europeans managed to win the war. She is very aware of what he is trying to say, but she's also very careful not to upset her base.
I think this is very revealing.